Hello friends, I am Chevy. Welcome to my driveway. Beautiful day outside today. I've been working on Jamie's car, put brakes on it. I filmed that, so I'll probably put that out tomorrow. You know, been outside most of the day, and quite a few of you have asked to see the bike and to hear about motorcycling and that sort of stuff. So here it is. This is a 2003 Suzuki VL800 Volusia. This is an 800cc displacement bike, which is one of the smaller engine displacement bikes that I've owned. This is my, 8th motorcycle I think I've owned. And this is also the newest motorcycle I've owned. I tend to buy vintage because I can afford them and I enjoy working on things. So, the history of this motorcycle, this belonged to a police officer here locally. It was dropped, which did some cosmetic damage, and it was totaled by his insurance. A friend of mine picked it up, rebuilt it, and he had it for a while and never rode. And so when I moved to this house, I had a Jeep, and I wanted to keep my Jeep because I loved my Jeep. But I also knew that with the Jeep and another car, the Jeep was just going to sit and kind of go to waste. And so I thought I would sell it and pick this up. So we kind of did a little trade. He sold my Jeep for me so I could get this bike off of him. And yeah, for about 4 years there, I went without a motorcycle. I've had this for about 3 years now, 3 or 4 years, I'm not sure. And when I bought it, it had about 9,000 miles on it and now has just over 50,000. So I ride quite a bit. It doesn't sit very long. You know, it's got some scratches and some bruises, but that's just part of owning a bike that's ridden. You know, I don't baby it. As you can see, it's kind of, well, I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of filthy dirty. It needs cleaned. And I wash it fairly frequently, but it's a daily rider. And, you know, going to work in the morning specifically, it's usually foggy, and then it attracts road dust and whatever. It's mostly stock. I have done a few things to it, like adding the Eagle Globe and Anchor here. There used to be some sort of exhaust thing, emissions type thing here. So this came off, and I made this bracket to mount this Eagle Globe and Anchor, which I really love. Found out about that on a Suzuki Volusia Riders forum. So I was able to get that going. The controls, these are forward controls is what they're called. The original on the bike were back about right here. And being 6'4", I have huge legs. So this moves the controls forward about 6 inches. And really makes this bike super comfortable. This is a smaller bike. The bike I had previous to this was a 72 Harley FLH full dresser. And so that was a 1200cc bike. This is an 800cc bike. But this bike is physically larger than the Harley was. So for a 6'4" guy, even though this is a small engine bike, I fit this thing super comfortably. Added on some side fairings here for the, this just helps with wind buffeting, especially going down the interstate. Wind likes to come up through here and hit you in your helmet, and it hurts. It kind of makes your head bobble around. So this cuts down on that. I changed out the blinkers. They usually come with what they call lollipops, so these big, long, round, ugly things. So I got rid of those and put those on. The handlebars, these are, I want to say 6 or 8 inch risers that I put on here. These handlebars were usually much farther forward and down, so these long chrome pieces bring this thing up. The biggest change I added was on the back end. First of all, I added saddlebags. It didn't have saddlebags, and those are made for a Honda Shadow, so I had to modify the bracketry to fit those on there. But when this came from the factory, it's an 800cc bike, and it was geared like a dirt bike. Like, you had to shift it almost as soon as you got on it. And it's really tough to ride that way. And if you went on the interstate and you tried to go to interstate or highway speeds, it just was like, it would vibrate you to death because it was going so fast RPM wise. So discovered some on the same Suzuki forums, guys were taking rear ends off of the 1500cc bikes and modifying them to fit their Volusias. So I was able to get a hold of a rear end, which essentially involves drilling out some of the bolt holes so that the rear end fits, and then changing the length of the drive shaft. This is a shaft-driven bike, which I will never go back to a belt or chain drive again like the Harleys. They're just way too sketchy. I don't know. I like the shaft drive. It's comfortable. I can downshift and engine brake and that sort of stuff. So the rear end was changed out, and now this is my dream bike. I'll never get rid of it. I will keep this one forever. You know, I might get other bikes, but this one it's absolutely perfect. You know, being that it's an 800cc, it's easy on gas, but with the rear end change, it rides super comfortably at highway speeds. It's just an absolute beautiful bike to ride. It's very, very comfortable for me. Alina loves to ride on it. Jamie has never sat on it. She hates motorcycles, so she doesn't like it at all. Alina and I actually went riding quite a bit today to go pick up parts for Mom's car and go see Grandma and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, that's the bike. Let's go back inside and we'll chat in there about riding. Okay, so you've seen the bike. That is my daily mode of transportation if it's not snowing, essentially. So I ride quite a bit. And for safety gear, this might get me in trouble, but I'm not an ATGAT. There are a lot of motorcyclists who believe in a term called ATGAT, which is all the gear all the time. And that means that you always wear 100% of your protective gear 100% of the time. That's fine. You know, a lot of people are concerned about their safety, and so, you know, they want to suit up. And that means, you know, riding boots and Kevlar pants and Kevlar jackets and Kevlar gloves and full face helmets, and, you know, they get fully suited up expecting to crash. I am not that way, but I do wear protective equipment. My standard protective equipment is a helmet. This is just an open face helmet with some eyeglasses that have some foam padding around them to keep the wind out of my eyes. It helps with allergies. This helmet is probably overdue for replacement. I think that when I bought my Harley, the guy I bought it off of gave me that helmet, so I don't know. And then I always have something on to protect me. Normally it's this vest if it's hot outside. This is a riding vest. It actually has some armor inside and this large patch on the back so that if I do wreck, it is sleeveless, and I'm sliding on my back, I will lose less skin than if I didn't have this on. I do not count on this being the end-all be-all protective gear. Also, if it's, you know, 75 degrees or less, I usually wear a buffalo hide jacket. This is a buffalo hide, white buffalo hide jacket. I like the white because, number one, it's not as hot as black. And number two, you guys know I work for the school system, and I don't want to walk around in a black motorcycle jacket like I'm some kind of badass. So that is like the protection and the functionality of a motorcycle jacket, which is super good. It has tons of functionality as far as how the zippers work, how this zips clear up to your nape of your neck, pocket zip up, the belts. It's a really functional jacket for riding, but I'm not trying to look like a biker. Also, it's super high visibility, which is very important when you're riding. In my saddlebags, I keep a pair of gauntlet-style gloves, which come over my sleeves, so long gloves, essentially. Those are great for when it's cold outside, because if you have short gloves on, air's still going underneath of your arm, and it gets cold. So gauntlet-style gloves keep the air out of your sleeves. And I have rain gear in there. I have a jacket and a set of waterproof pants that I put on if it's raining. And I also keep a pair of untinted glasses with foam for if I'm riding at night. Other than that, I don't wear protective pants. I don't wear gloves unless it's cold. I don't, I don't have a skid jacket or anything like that. I always wear boots, but that's just, I normally always wear boots anyway, so it's not a big deal. And, I ride. I ride quite a bit. I really, really, really love it. That is also the first bike I've ever owned that had a windshield on it. And after having a bike with a windshield, I don't think I could ever go back. I said I could never go back to chain drive, and that's true. I could also never go back to riding without a windshield. I always thought windshields were like for old men. But I tell you what, on a trip, or even just a short trip, the amount of fatigue that wind hitting you in the chest, you know, on a motorcycle, you have no backrest. I used to have a backrest on there, took it off a long time ago. There's no backrest. And so you're holding yourself up. You're like physically holding yourself up. And if the wind is pounding you in your chest, it's pushing you back and you're fighting that. Fighting it with your arms, fighting it with your waist and your midsection. And it's really uncomfortable after riding for a while. Put a windshield on there, that problem goes away. Also, when it's raining, I can duck behind it and I'm not getting blasted in the face by large water droplets. So, that's my motorcycle. That's my theory on riding protection. There's no other modifications to it other than putting some accessories on, like the bags. I have a glove bag on the back. Changed out the rear turn signals as well with a different turn signal bracket, or different, turn signal bracket and license plate bracket. That's about it. Oh, and I put new jets in the carburetor. Those bikes come really leaned out from the factory, so I richened it up a little bit with new jets, which really helps. Yeah, that's it. That's my bike. If you have any questions, comments down below would be the place to put that. You want to know about riding or talk about riding, please let me know and I can share more. So thank you so much as always for being here. I really appreciate you. I hope you have a great Easter weekend, and I will see you Monday. Unless you watch the video I put out tomorrow, then I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from dentalassociates.com. Why is it called a wisdom tooth? Wisdom teeth are called wisdom teeth because they erupt into the mouth when people are in their late teens or early 20s, affectionately termed the age of wisdom. Wisdom teeth are technically referred to as third molars, and they're just like all other teeth in your mouth. Late teens, early 20s is the age of wisdom? I don't think so. No.